Hello. Sorry. Hello, and welcome to episode 83 of PubShorts, titled
Hello,
True
hello,
Faith.
hello to you too.
Yeah, I accidentally clicked twice to the screen share screen. Anyway, so that's
That's all
not
right. You can never say enough. You can never say hello enough times.
right. So we said hello. My name is Dr. KK, and I'm the innovation officer at Trinkan in Nago. And Tony, please introduce
I am
yourself.
Tony O'Rourke. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this latest episode of Pub Shorts, episode 83. I can't believe it. And Pub Shorts, as you may or may not know, is a regular podcast which KK and I record, where we talk about articles that have appeared in the press and the trade media that affect the world of scholarly communication. And what we like to do with Pub Shorts is every episode we name it after a British pop or rock song. Both KK and I are slightly music obsessed. And today's episode is called True Faith. Now, you may wonder, why is it called True Faith? Well, the reason for that, which by the way is a song by the Manchester group New Order. This episode explores the optimism, perhaps arguably fragile optimism, underpinning the efforts to secure and safeguard society publishing, and warnings of unstable deals and shifting global rankings, again, arguably. Whether it's journal citation reports from Clarivate, impact factor shakeups, preprint milestones, integrity tool partnerships, we examine how the research community must hold fast to its true faith in transparent and resilient scholarly communication. And may I just say, whoever wrote that introductory text needs to be congratulated. That was very clear.
Thank you very much. And I think it is you and I who do such introductory text anyway. But if you're tuning in for the first time, all the episodes of PubShots are available on our YouTube playlist. You just have to go to Inago's YouTube channel and find all the 82 episodes. As Tony says, maybe book a couple of weekends for this and buy yourself.
I say, if you listen to all 82 episodes, I worked at the average episode is 30 minutes long. So what's that? That's 40 hours. So don't sleep for 2 days, and you'll be able to watch all the episodes and be completely up to date what's going on in the world of scholarly publishing.
Yes, and to be fair, the actual conversation times will be around 25 minutes, not 30 minutes. Tony, we try to keep things brief as possible, as we must try.
KK, pedant is spelled P-E-D-A-N-T.
Talking about which, let's move on to the first story. This is a white paper published. It's titled "Safeguarding the Future of Society Publishing," published as a white paper by Research Consulting. Tony, you have a friend in this author list.
Let's say an industry colleague, Rob Johnson. Yes, I think he's the CEO of Research Communication, and over the last at least 10 years has produced some excellent research.
Right. So, as I mentioned, it's a white paper on the future of society publishing, and it is a survey methodology used. So, approximately 66 people were surveyed, 76% UK based, and 80% of the people who were surveyed see publishing as the core of society publishing, with 82% been publishing over 50 years, and digital and formatting publishing still exists, and revenues for society publishers are under pressure, and this is also affected by AI, which is considered a top challenge as well as a top opportunity for society publishers. 48% licensing, 48% of the surveyed participants are either licensing or planning to license content for AI, and 65% haven't yet updated author policies for AI. And open access growth also is expected to increase, and peer review recruitment is the foremost operational challenge that the society publishers are facing, and data fragmentation hampers their strategy. And finally, the most important thing, collaboration is seen as essential, and societies seek shared solutions for AI licensing, OA transitions, and revenue diversification. That's
that's not a new thing. I mean, societies have been collaborating for many years in many different ways. But I think now the pressures on society publishers is greater than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, you imagine over the last 20 to 30 years, an ever increasing amount of, let's say, a library's ability to buy content, their budget is focused on the big publishers. So unless you're part of those very large publisher deals, it becomes increasingly difficult to get any share of that from a traditional library budget. And I think the same is also true from the open access perspective, as more and more institutions go into read and publish deals, like ONOS, for example, which if the institutions pay for it themselves, not like ONOS, then it becomes increasingly difficult for universities, no matter how much they may want to retain those deals, keep those deals going.
Excellent. So, if a quick question, and maybe you can summarize the answer. What are the differences that in terms of society publishers adopting automation and AI-based solutions as compared to commercial publishers?
I don't think there's any one particular difference. Scale, of course. There are some very large society publishers who have got, the same kind of capacity and scale and ability to match the sort of systems and platforms that the large commercial publishers might have. But there are many, many, many small publishers, small societies, maybe up to 5 journals, a small books program, maybe more focus on education programs rather than on journal publishing. So it's really down to scale. The one difference, however, the one thing which I was surprised at this report is that my perception, perhaps wrongly, was that society publishers had less problem in identifying and recruiting peer reviewers than the commercial publishers, because there's that kind of sense of engagement and ownership between a member of the society and their desire to want to support the society by providing peer review services.
Yeah,
it may have changed.
Yeah, I mean, one point of research is to bring out the truth and clear the, let's say, misconceptions in this case that you and I both share in terms of peer review being a relatively easy challenge for society publishers. Yeah. Great. Moving on to the next story, we are talking about Web of Science. Web of Science Research Intelligence is a new, I guess, feature application, and it is welcoming new early adopters. So Research Intelligence is a new AI native software by Clarivate, and it is designed to help research institutions accelerate innovation and demonstrate societal impact. And so Clarivate has partnered with several institutions to develop this platform, and it uses advanced AI to provide actionable insights and simplify complex research tasks. So the whole aim for Research Intelligence is to transform how research impact is measured, and it will be it will be available to early adopters starting August. And users can explore societal impacts across various facets, including political, economic, and environmental. And it helps institutions align research with UN Sustainable Developmental Goals, SDGs, which is a very important thing these days. And as we've always mentioned, Clarivate's initiative is to create a collaborative, innovative, innovation-centered environment within the research community. So that's a summary of this article. Your thoughts on it, Tony?
Oh, listen, and I've said this before, I've been working with libraries for 30 plus years, 35 years. And I mean, I remember being told on many, many occasions that the first electronic resource a library subscribes to and the last electronic resource that a library has to cancel through budgetary reasons are the Clarivate, or it was Web of Science tools then, the science citation factors, the impact factor reports, etc. So I think by doing this, they're very clever. They're aligning themselves even more closely with what those what research funders are asking for in terms of measuring impact and the kind of information that somebody going for a research grant needs to provide in order to secure those impacts and that funding. So no, I think it's maybe it's an obvious move, and I'm sure it is, but it's a very, very clever move anyway.
Excellent. Moving on to the next story, which is from the UK. I'm expecting you to have a lot to say about this. So we are talking about the Times higher education article titled "Publishing Deals Are Unsustainable," warn Northern University. So we are talking about N8 universities, which are 8 universities in north of UK. And so the some of the key points include that they say the N8 universities are stating that the current academic publishing deals are not sustainable, and they face financial pressure due to lower international student numbers and static fees. N8 calls for open access and fair pricing in publishing, and publishers are urged to adopt transparent, value-added services. And there are talks with major publishers like Elsevier and Springer Nature, and some universities have exited deals because of cost concerns, and they are exploring shared infrastructure for publication open access routes. So, in a nutshell, it is sort of a common challenge across the world, across the globe, I would feel. Any other perspectives, Tony?
This I said earlier on about, because these deals, the people like Springer Nature, Elsevier, etc., take up such a large proportion of the university's library budget. They're always going to be under scrutiny. And what you tend to find happening, and it may not happen in this case, to be fair, but what you tend to find happen is there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of ruffling of feathers. Somebody pulls out, somebody withdraws from the deal, and then the academics come in and say, this can't happen. We need access to this content. And through some process of magic or osmosis, they somehow reinstate access, or they get access again to that content. Listen, they're absolutely right to be concerned, because it is such a large proportion of their total spend. But then again, it's an awful lot of content that they're getting access to.
Right.
And, and that has to be sustained. Yep. So, there has to be a fair fee, and maybe there may be leeway on the part of the publisher, but that's for the publisher to decide. So, wouldn't it be lovely if every deal in the world was like the ONOS deal, which is actually directly funded by the government? That is the exception that proves the rule. So few are nationally funded. They've made attempts in the past in countries like Brazil. I'm struggling to think. To a certain extent, in China, some of those national deals were centrally funded through the old I can't remember the name, the DRAA consortium, for example.
Right.
But they are the exception rather than the rule. Most consortia deals are buying clubs,
right,
where a library says, "Okay, I will join this club. I won't necessarily buy everything because I can't afford to. But if I do buy everything, I'll benefit from this of the group purchase rates that have been negotiated." Not everything's like ONOS.
Right.
Oh, by the way, if you don't know what ONOS is, ONOS stands for One Nation, One Subscription, which is the Indian national license. And if you're a publisher and you want to find out how you can benefit, or how you can become part of the ONOS arrangement, then we have people within Inargo that can advise you on this.
Excellent. And they can get in touch with us. How, Tony?
Oh, they just need to get hold of us. They contact me directly via LinkedIn, or directly at tonyo@inargo.com.
Excellent. Moving on to the next story. We are going to the US of A. But this is news related to the 2025-2026 Best Global Universities Rankings. I guess you're going to be interested in this. So over 2,250 universities from more than 100 countries were evaluated. China has the most schools in the rankings, followed by the US, India, Japan, and the UK. And these rankings, Tony, serve as major benchmarks for students considering international study. The Harvard University tops with the overall global rankings, and Africa's top universities is the University of Cape Town, which I believe you must have visited.
I haven't actually. I've never been to South Africa. It's one of the few markets where I haven't. I've always had people, or staff colleagues, that have done that. I've never been to South Africa.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing, but Tsinghua University. Tsinghua. Yeah, university leads in Asia, and the University of Sydney is the best in Australia and New Zealand. And the University of Oxford is Europe's top institutions. And Tony, please, would you spell the Latin American one?
The University of Sao Paulo in Brazil.
Yeah. All right. So what are your thoughts? Did you see anything surprising?
No, not particularly. I think, rankings are important. I think they're perhaps arguably less important for those institutions at the top than for those institutions who want to get to the top. So, and this is just one set of rankings. There are many, many different sets of rankings out there. QS perhaps being the best known, or the Times Higher Education rankings. So there are lots of different types of rankings out there. And I think it's important to know how well universities are being perceived by the outside. So yes, I always encourage rankings. I like a good table.
Yeah, let's talk about a latest innovation by Site in terms of reference management. So this news story is from Research Solutions. Site expands extensive publisher partnership network with American Society for Microbiology indexing agreement. So this expands Site's network to over 30 publishers, and we are talking about smart citation technology, which will also now index the ASM, that is American Society for Microbiology journals. And ASM, as Tony, you very well know, is a leading organization in microbiology research, and this partnership enhances citation insights for researchers who will benefit from this. Any quick thoughts on this?
No, I think it's great to see a medium-sized society publisher being able to innovate in this way. I think, and I would encourage others to do the same.
Yep. And moving on to the next story, it's a couple of stories related to preprints. First of all, preprints.org surpasses the 100,000 preprints milestone, which is a huge thing, I think, for such a This milestone was.
I had no idea it was so large.
Yes, this milestone was achieved with contributions from authors, readers, and board members. That's a press release statement, and it started in 2016. Preprints.org to promote open science. The platform has grown with feedback from over 350,000 researchers, and it is the fifth largest preprint platform by publication volume alone. And over half of the preprints are later published as peer-reviewed articles. That's a staggering amount, in my opinion.
It's huge.
50%. New features include in preprints.org include an upgraded website and a presence of Blue Sky, which is the preferred social networking platform since the renaming of the erstwhile Twitter. Any thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, I made a comment. I kind of, this went underneath the radar for me a little bit. I had no idea that it was such a substantial platform. I think MDPI, who own preprints.org, have done a very good job in terms of building this preprint service. And what a name to have! My God, that's a fabulous name to have for a preprint server. Particularly with that sort of volume, it clearly shows it's working.
Right. And we've been working on finding solutions to solve some of the screening challenges that preprint platforms have. Do you think that because the volumes are increasing even in preprints.org, there's probably a room for such a solution, don't you think?
Well, I think the challenge that preprints have and have had over the since they started really is the fact they are not peer reviewed. That somebody can submit a paper, and the perception outside is that paper then can continue unfettered, maybe with some occasional updates, without any sort of formal peer review. But what the reality is quite different. What we're seeing is that these peer review services are very serious about analysing the content that's being submitted to those papers. So yes, something may get submitted, but the number of checks that have to take place is equal to, and arguably one could argue even greater than the sort of checks that happen within a traditional peer review service.
Right.
To make sure that the content is valid, meaningful, has impact. All the things that you would expect. Yeah. So my personal predictions, I think we'll see over the next 3 to 5 years, the significance, the importance, the weightings of the impact of the preprint services like preprints.org and others significantly increase.
Yeah. And the one thing that I would like to sort of maybe correct is that I guess the staff who screen preprint submissions would not be called peer reviewers, because that term is sort of designated for the journal.
No, they're not peer reviewers, KK. But what they're doing is they're asking the kind of questions that a peer reviewer would ask.
Completely
so they may
agree.
not be peer reviewers.
Yes.
But I'm thinking of one particular organisation where all their checkers, or so many of their checkers, are PhD qualified.
Right.
So they may not be peer reviewers in the formal sense, but they're providing that kind of screening service which a reviewer might do.
Excellent. Thanks for clarifying that point, Tony. And the last main story that we have is also related to preprints. This is from ASAP Bio. Different methods of identifying preprint matches yield diverging estimates of rates of preprinting. So the study, the report explores different methods for identifying preprint matches and the varying results. The analysis of data is from Crossref, Euro PubMed Central, OSI by PLOS, and another research paper, I suppose. There's focus on how accurate each source's data is, and Crossref offers detailed matching algorithms and periodic data dumps. The Euro PubMed Central combines Crossref data with its own matching methods and PLOS's OSI dataset tracks open science practice over time, and different sources have different preprint match rates, causing discrepancy. This is the key point in this, that when you try to sort of match data from different sources, there are discrepancies, and this is a metadata problem, metadata sort of hygiene problem that we've been talking about. And if you need interconnected systems across the academic publishing infrastructure, we need to solve some of these things. So what do you think about this overall?
I was surprised. I reading the article, I was surprised with the concluding statement that something like only less than 15% of life science journal articles in 2024 are pre-printed.
Yeah.
I don't know what the scale of measurement was. I would have thought it would have been a lot higher. I know, for example, in physics, it's very high. It's much higher than 15%. At least it was.
Yeah.
So it does surprise me. Maybe it's a timing thing. Maybe, if it's preprints that appear in 2024 that also get published in 2024, it's only 15%. Okay, that might just be subject to the peer review process being slow. But that surprised me. But I think anything that can make it easy for the author to then transfer that paper, or for the publisher to invite the preprint author to submit their paper to their journal, because there's a very close match, and therefore a benefit to the author, potentially, if they pass peer review, should be encouraged.
Excellent. Are you ready for quick hits?
I'm always ready for quick hits.
All right. So Springer Nature Story, quick. This title data released in this year's Independent Nature Index Research Leaders table show a shift in global research landscape. And it's not surprising at all, because China has increased its research output significantly. Asian institutions are gaining prominence, and China's share metric increased by 17% from 2023. Yeah. And the other two nations who have shown growth are South Korea and India. Very happy, very proud about Indian research forging ahead as well. Western institutions are seeing declines in their ranking, and the Chinese Academy of Sciences remains on the top. I think this is what we talked about 2 episodes ago as well, but using a different metric. Excellent work by Chinese researchers, and this is why we offer a lot of services and consultancy in China, and we should probably expand this in other geographies which need more research support. What do you think?
Well, yes, we absolutely should. But I mean, China itself is such an important market. You need to have an organization like Charlesworth Expert Services for China, which we provide to guide or to advise those publishers who are looking to invest in that market. It's such an important market. I mean, as we've seen before, in terms of the number of papers that are coming out of that market, the number of the world's top 100 research institutions, or top 1,000 that are in China. 20 years ago, it was nothing. It was almost nothing. But the Chinese government have made some really, really significant steps in moving the market forward to where it is today, as being the number one provider of content in certain subject areas, for example, like engineering and physics, for example. So if you're a publisher, you need guidance or advice in terms of how to approach the Chinese publishing market. Please contact me, tony@nago.com, and I'll put you in touch with my colleagues at China Expert Services.
Excellent. The next quick hit is from IOP Publishing. IOP Publishing makes supplementary research data more visible. So this is by assigning digital object identifiers to these supplementary data files, and it supports open science and research impact, and it aligns with the FAIR principles, which is findable, accessible, interoperable and reproducible data, and authors will gain more recognition of their contributions beyond the main articles. But most importantly, Tony, all the information that is related to research that needs to be shown to the eventual reader, or the eventual reader researcher who will try to replicate or further the line of research that a research paper has, will now be available with the UIs. Excellent. I cannot be happier for such a
and I think one of the maybe not unspoken, but one of the kind of the hidden benefits here is for accessibility. Having DOIs means that those objects, those images, the supplementary data, are much more accessible to, for example, visually impaired users than perhaps it would have been before. So no, I think I'm the soft spot for IOP. I used to work there, so they always do great things. We're always pioneering and leading the way in terms of standards and methods in electronic publishing. So kudos to them.
Yeah. And we have some more news regarding Get FTR. So it is a news article about the Radiological Society of North America and the Society of Exploration of Geophysicists. They have both implemented the retraction and errata feature to strengthen research integrity. I do not know why people are taking longer to do this. So basically, this errata and retractions feature highlights retractions and errata directly in article references. So if a researcher has a link to a research paper which has been retracted or has been corrected, then it will show up if they have the Get FTR integration, the Get FTR plugin, which you might have seen in several shares of PubShorts screen shares as well. So it's excellent. Your thoughts on this?
None at all. I think anything that makes access to full text easier, and takes advantage of an institution's license access, then great.
Tony, you just talked about Charlesworth. Charlesworth was in the news. We are actually behind the times by a couple of weeks because of various scheduling reasons, but we have two Charlesworth stories ready for the first.
Yeah.
All right. Charlesworth and Cassini bring AI-powered research seminars to China's STM publishing community. So it's a straightforward news. Charlesworth is a leader in terms of working with vendors as well as institutions in terms of getting such deals right. Your thoughts? Cassini is a leading platform in terms of sharing content, even research-related content, especially webinars with DOIs and everything. Excellent initiative, don't you think?
No, Cassini couldn't have picked a better organisation to work with. I mean, I know it's a bit of a plug for our own organisation, but there is really nobody out there that has a level of expertise and depth of expertise that our colleagues at China Expert Services have.
Yeah, and the last story, it is from our own website. Charlesworth partners with Bio1 to provide sales representation services in China, Hong Kong, and Macau. But this is exactly what you've been talking about. So, do you have any?
Yeah, I think they have the must be now the largest selection of Western partners we work with in China. They work with, I won't say everybody, but so many different publishing organizations that it benefits the publisher, it benefits the market because the market knows it can get access to this content, and it benefits the users as well. Yeah, so
it increases the reach of biosciences content by Bio1, as well as it promotes the sales of Bio1 Complete and ebook. So these are different types of books.
Collections.
Yeah, excellent. So that brings us to the end of episode 83 of PubShorts, which is titled True Faith. Tony, anything interesting happening in your neck of the woods? It's summer. There's Wimbledon on TV. There's a test match which just started.
There's a test match. I have to have my fan on all day because it's so hot. My cat is complaining because it's so hot. We're just not built for these sorts of temperatures here.
Right. Anything else?
Today we have 30, and I have a gig this weekend. I'm playing this weekend. I'm entertaining the garden party in Bristol. So my little Irish band will be plugging away.
Excellent. So once again, I just want to remind you that if you're watching us for the first time, Tony and I for the first time, we have been doing this for a few months now. And we've got 82 episodes recorded and ready for play at the click of a button on our YouTube playlist. Just search for Inago and find the PubShorts playlist and listen away for a couple of days without sleep. That's what Tony recommends.
Yeah, and if you've got any suggestions for topics, ideas for articles that we should be discussing, please feel free to share them in the comments or contact KKI directly on LinkedIn or tonyo@nago.com.
Yeah, and
my cat's about to join in as well.
And we are extremely grateful for your viewership and your feedback. And until the next time, this is Tony and KK signing off for PubShorts. We'll see you. Bye-bye, Tony.
See you at the next one.